Welcome, MHP Rhino Nation, to another episode. Let's get dive deep into MHP's baby.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really try to uncover the blueprints behind what works. Today, we're doing something a little different. I think it's going to unlock some serious aha moments for you. We're actually pulling back the curtain on the incredibly detailed production guide for a really highly regarded, very niche-specific show. It's called the MHP Rhino Deep Dive with Barnaby Ballows.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like peeking into the playbook of champions, but for content creation.
Yeah, it's honestly an absolute masterclass in planning. And what's so intriguing here, I think, is that while this guide is super focused on, like you said, the mobile home park industry.
Right, very niche.
Very niche, but the principles it lays out, content strategy, audience engagement, rigorous production, that stuff is universally applicable. So we're not just going to summarize it. We're really aiming to extract the underlying method, the systemic thinking behind it all, and maybe find the surprising little nuggets you can apply to your own projects. Could be a presentation, a report, or just making your own learning stick better.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to dissect this incredibly detailed map, this guide, and pull out the most impactful strategies. How do you build, scale, and operationalize a powerful informational platform? We're going to use this guide as our map.
Let's do it.
It's about understanding the engine, really, that drives top-tier content.
Yeah.
So let's dive in and see what makes this Rhino show tick.
Okay, so every powerhouse project, it really starts with a clear why, doesn't it?
Always.
And this guide, wow, it makes it crystal clear for the MHP Rhino Deep Dive. It's not just about, throwing information out there. It's strategically designed to attract very specific groups. We're talking sellers, buyers, operators, brokers, even lenders, directly into what they actually call the Rhino ecosystem.
Right, that term ecosystem is key.
So they're not just making content, they're building a funnel, a community, and a business, sort of all at once. Exactly right. And that explicit objective, that why, it's foundational. It dictates pretty much every single decision they make afterwards in their content strategy. It just highlights the immense power of having purpose-driven content. The guide spells out 3 core goals very clearly. First, level up their internal sales teams.
Okay.
Give them better scripts, ways to handle objections, clear KPI tracking, key performance indicators, the numbers that show if you're actually hitting your targets.
Makes sense. Internal focus first.
Then, second, systemize their operations. This means documenting SOP's standard operating procedures so well that partners can easily replicate stuff, scale things up.
Okay, making it repeatable.
And third, the big one maybe, expand the Rhino universe. They use things like books, online courses, a newsletter, a dedicated community. So it's not just a show. It's a really meticulously planned growth engine.
That clarity of purpose, it really sounds like it underpins everything, including how they define their brand and voice. I was really struck by their brand and voice guardrails. They specifically mandate a tone that's bold, witty, unflinching, ethical. And I love this specific phrase, Rhino tough sentences that bite, never cruel.
Yeah.
What do you think that never cruel part really means in practice?
Oh, it's absolutely crucial because it builds trust, right? Rhino Tough isn't about being nasty or mean-spirited. It's about being sharp, direct, incisive, cutting through complexity without getting personal or derogatory. You see this really clearly in their satire rule, which just says they have to punch up at broken incentives and lazy thinking, not at individuals.
Punch up. I like that.
Yeah, it's not just a clever line. It's basically an ethical compass. It ensures their wit serves a constructive purpose, fosters smart debate instead of just cynicism. It keeps the focus on systemic problems, not personal attacks. That's huge for maintaining credibility while still being, frankly, entertaining.
That's a really sophisticated way to handle satire, especially in a business context. And those guardrails, they clearly translate into the actual Barnaby Ballows on-air persona. He's described as a charming cross-examiner who cuts through fluff. How do they make that happen? Like, what are his signature moves?
Well, it's not just a description. It's practically a toolkit for engagement. Barnaby isn't just talking. He's, in a way, performing. He uses his Ballows BS barometer to quickly call out misleading claims. He often uses rapid-fire cross-examination to peel back layers of jargon or fuzzy assumptions. He'll throw in these sarcastic red flag bingo calls.
Their flag bingo.
Yeah, to highlight common pitfalls. It makes complex, sometimes frustrating scenarios feel relatable, maybe even a bit humorous. And his One Number That Matters segment, it boils down complicated financial stuff or operational data to one single undeniable metric. metric.
Wow.
So these aren't just, stylistic choices. They're structural elements designed to make sure even really dense topics get presented with clarity, impact, and a memorable personality.
And it's not just what they say, but also how they get listeners to act. The guide's instruction for calls to action, CTAs, is so smart. Direct, one-step actions, no vague, let me know if you're interested kind of thing.
Right.
It's grab the guide or book a call. It simplifies the path for the listener, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Removes friction, makes it easy to take the next step.
Okay, so they've got their why, their distinct voice.
Yeah.
So now they need the what, the actual content. The guide outlines 8 core content pillars. These ensure they cover everything important for their audience. We're talking things like cold calling mastery for sales folks, deal mechanics for the finance side, myth-busting and exposés to challenge common wisdom, and case studies to show how it works in the real world. How do these pillars keep it broad and deep without just being overwhelming?
Well, they act like a structured curriculum,
Right.
essentially, instead of just randomly chasing whatever's hot this week. These pillars ensure they consistently deliver value across all the critical areas of their specific industry. It's like almost like a mini university for mobile home park investors. But what's really powerful, I think, are the RHINO way frameworks. These give structure to how they teach. The main RHINO acronym itself is like a content filter. Research, honest framing, insight density, no fluff negotiation, and operational follow-through.
Okay, RHINO.
Yeah. And insight density, for instance, that means every minute of audio has to be packed with actionable value. It should challenge your assumptions, not just repeat stuff you already know.
That's a really clear filter for quality. But they go even further, right, with really practical frameworks for specific tasks. Tell us more about that 5x5 prospecting or the 3-beat call. Those sound intriguing.
Oh, absolutely. The 5x5 prospecting is a fantastic example of a systematic, multi-channel approach to outreach. It's not just one email and done. It's 5 targeted lists of prospects. And for each prospect, 5 distinct touch steps: a call, a voicemail, an SMS text, an email, and even direct mail.
Wow, 5 touches across channels. That's thorough.
It is. And imagine applying that logic to your own networking or even trying to get expert input for a project. It ensures you're persistent in reaching people where they are. It's about, thoughtful, consistent engagement, not just blasting messages out.
Yeah, much more strategic. And the 3-beat call.
That's for cold outreach. Super simple, super effective. Credibility, why should they listen to you? Relevance, why does it matter to them right now?
Yeah.
And a clear next step, what do you want them to do?
Credibility, relevance, clear next step.
Exactly. It's a universal structure you could use for almost any initial contact, whether it's a sales call or just asking someone for an informational interview. Helps you get straight to the point.
And the frameworks just keep coming. They also use an offer ladder for deals.
Right.
Moving from initial info to soft terms, then anchored terms, and finally formal paper. And for improving processes, they have this ops flywheel. Intake, verify, systemize, measure, improve. Can you just briefly explain what a flywheel kind of implies there?
Sure. The offer ladder basically maps out a clear step-by-step path for a potentially complex sale. It respects the buyer's journey, building trust and commitment gradually. And the ops flywheel, think of a heavy wheel. You put in effort, it starts spinning, and each rotation builds momentum and makes the next spin easier, more efficient.
Okay, gaining momentum.
Exactly. For operations, it means every process is constantly being looked at and refined. You intake a new task or process, verify what's needed, systemize it into an SOP, measure how it's performing with those KPIs we talked about, and then use that data to improve it.
A closed loop.
Precisely. A closed loop of optimization. What's really striking here is how these explicit frameworks don't just tell you what needs doing, they give you a system for how to do it. They turn abstract ideas into, practical toolkits you can use immediately.
That structured approach seems baked into absolutely everything they do. Let's talk about the actual episode architecture for their main deep dives. It's incredibly detailed. It starts with a cold open that they describe as a spicy promise.
Yeah, I love that description. That cold open is designed to hook you instantly, right? Present a compelling problem or maybe a bold claim that just demands your attention. Then, after a quick sound sting or show ID, the setup clearly lays out who the episode is for, what the stakes are, and what outcome you, the listener, can expect.
Setting expectations right away.
Exactly, demonstrating immediate relevance. Then, their episodes tend to follow a pretty classic 3-act structure. Act I gives you the context, sets the stage. Act 2 dives into the mechanics, so that's where the numbers, the frameworks, the actual strategies come in. And Act 3 is all about application. This often involves case study walkthroughs, maybe checklists, and definitely robust objection handling.
Application, making it real.
Yeah, it ensures this really logical flow of information, taking you from just understanding the concept to knowing how to actually implement it.
And they don't stop there. They weave Barnaby's persona back in with a cross-examination segment.
Reinforces the brand.
Then they give you actionable takeaways, that clear single-step CTA, and even a teaser for the next episode.
Yeah.
Smart. But what really stood out to me was the strategic focus on a short-form content pack for repurposing. It's not an afterthought. It's planned from the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. This is incredibly efficient. They create hooks, short clips, carousel posts for social media, email subject lines, LinkedIn threads, all in advance to spread the message from each deep dive further.
That's thinking ahead.
It really is. It shows a deep understanding of how to maximize the impact of your core content across different platforms. Take their stuff on cold calling, the cold calling master keys. They pre-design openers that ask permission and promise value in like 7 seconds.
7 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, like, do you have 27 seconds for me to share something valuable? Then they have pattern interrupts things to say to stop someone hanging up immediately, like, before you go, let me share 2 quick numbers. They even prepare detailed responses for common objections. This proactive approach is it's a game changer if you're trying to get any message heard today.
And that follow-up cadence you mentioned earlier, it's a masterclass in persistence too, isn't it?
Yeah.
A multi-channel, multi-touch plan over 14 days using calls, texts, email, even direct mail. It just shows how much thought goes into making sure every minute of that core audio translates into wider impact and ultimately conversion.
It absolutely does. This whole systematic distribution approach, it's designed for maximum reach and engagement from one single high-effort piece of content. And naturally, all this careful planning feeds into strong SEO and discoverability. They deliberately weave target keywords, hashtags, and descriptive language into their distribution plan across all the platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Shorts, LinkedIn, their newsletter, you name it.
So it's a truly holistic strategy. Make great stuff, then make sure the right people can actually find it.
Precisely.
Okay, so they create it meticulously, they distribute it strategically, but how do they know if it's actually working? That's where the KPIs and feedback loops come in, I assume.
Exactly right. This isn't just art for art's sake. It's about creating effective content. And they track specific metrics that go way beyond just, vanity numbers like total downloads. For instance, hook retention. They aim for at least 70% of listeners sticking through the first 30 seconds on mid-form content.
That's specific.
Very. And it tells you way more than total views, right? It measures how well that initial spicy promise actually landed. They also track average view duration, ideally over 40% of the total length, and click-through rate on those CTAs, aiming for 4.5% or higher. Plus, sales KPIs like how many consults get booked.
Connecting content to business results.
Definitely. But what's really, I think, impactful is the post-release retro. It's a simple one-page review after every single episode. Every single one. What worked? What needs changing? What's the next experiment? It builds a real culture of continuous improvement.
That commitment definitely shows up in their quality bar scoring criteria, too.
Yeah.
Using a 0-10 scale to rate episodes on things like hook effectiveness, shareability, novelty and insight density, even humor impact.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly thorough way to maintain consistency and push for excellence every time.
And underpinning all of this, crucially, are their legal and ethics guardrails. These aren't just footnotes, they're serious. Strict policy on no personal data without consent. Critiquing behaviors or industry practices, yes, but not private individuals.
Okay, that punch-up rule again.
Exactly. Clearly stating their content isn't personalized legal or financial advice. And always respecting residents and fair housing principles. This isn't just about CYA, covering themselves. It's foundational for building long-term trust and credibility, especially vital in a niche industry where your reputation is everything. It ensures that even while they're being tough and insightful, they're also being responsible and ethical.
So wrapping this up, what does this deep dive into the MHP Rhino Deep Dive production guide really mean for you listening right now?
I think it's a really powerful illustration that success in creating impactful content, whether that's a show like this, a presentation for work, or even just a report, it isn't just about having good ideas. It really comes down to meticulous planning, establishing an authentic, clear voice, providing actionable frameworks people can actually use, designing for repurposing from the start, and maintaining this relentless commitment to measuring your impact and always improving. It's about building a system to deliver information powerfully. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe to connect this to the bigger picture, here's a thought to chew on. How could you bring some of that Rhino Tough precision to your own communication? What are the content pillars you consistently build on in your field? Could a 5 by 5 multi-touch system maybe adapted enhance your outreach for collaborations or networking, or even just sharing your research more effectively? The blueprint for rigorous structure, clear objectives, and consistent measurement, it's right there in this example, and it's transferable regardless of your topic. How can you apply these principles to make your information land with more impact and truly resonate?
That's a fantastic thought to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into a deep dive production guide. We really hope you'll explore how some of these principles could shape your own learning, your communication, and how you share what you know. Until next time.